music is cool.
Yeah, it's definitely the music.
It's a great way to find out what's happening around the city.
I love the website, really interactive.
I'd have to say sport.
Jack Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Jack Radio, UQ's very own radio station. I'm Amy Price and I'll be taking you through your morning. Today on the show, we're talking domestic violence in the NRL. What should we do about it? We've got an Olympian a little later on and we'll get the final word on what is the best lolly heading into exams. All that and more up very soon, but first, let's find out what's happening in news.
UQ News.
Find out what's happening around the city.
It's news for young people. Get real. Jack Radio.
Real issues, real news.
Jack.
JACradio.com.au. They've got it covered.
News for UQ
Jack.
and you.
Jack Radio.
Today in news, Queensland voters are outraged by dirty campaign tactics. Another shootout in southeast Queensland, and New South Wales try to steal Queensland legend Artie Beetson ahead of the State of Origin tomorrow night. Good morning, I'm Amy Price with the 9 o'clock news on Jack Radio for today, Tuesday, May 22nd. Up to 12 shots have been fired overnight at a Burleigh Heads gym owned by kickboxing champion John Wayne Parr. It is the latest in a series of gym and tattoo shop shootings in southeast Queensland. Despite initial speculation of bikie involvement, the police do not believe there is a connection between Mr. Parr and any outlaw motorcycle gangs. The motives of the shooting currently remain unknown. The bodies of 2 children and a man were found in a house in Darwin's northern suburbs this morning. Investigators believe it is a double murder-suicide. The police discovered the bodies of the young boy and girl while searching the premises after receiving a call from the neighbours. The relationship between the children and the man is yet to be established. Queensland voters have voiced their outrage at the politicians' dirty tactics in the aftermath of the state election. Here is Jack Radio's Sarah Cam with the story.
The campaign game got personal when Anna Bligh and Campbell Newman went head-to-head in the Queensland state election. Voters are outraged by the personal jibes about candidates and their families that were broadcast relentlessly during the campaign period. Parents are disappointed that the people who are supposed to be setting an example for young Australians resorted to dirty campaign methods which condone bullying.
I don't see how either of these politicians would influence or lead my children or grandchildren in a positive way.
Dr. Alina Morawska from the Parenting and Family Support Centre says moral reforms are long overdue.
The tone that's set at a societal level, whether it's by politicians or sporting people, certainly sets the tone for how society in general views what is and isn't appropriate.
But both parties say they don't regret the campaign methods they used, and in the next election, they'll use them again.
New South Wales has tried to claim Maroons legend Artie Beetson in their first assault on the Queenslanders ahead of the series opener tomorrow night. The Queensland team has said they will do it for Artie as they contest for their 7th straight series win after Beetson, who famously started the celebrated Queenslander chant, passed away last December. Paul Kent of the Daily Telegraph said today that Artie is one of New South Wales' greatest Origin players and that Queensland are exercising selective memory if they plan to draw on Artie's inspiration this series. Game 1 of the State of Origin will kick off at 8 p.m. tomorrow night at Melbourne's Etihad Stadium. In more sport, in the lead-up to tomorrow night's State of Origin clash, Blues coach Ricky Stewart has admitted they will need to play perfect football to beat the Maroons. While Stewart is passionate about ending Queensland dominance, Mal Meninga believes the Maroons' motivation and confidence will see them to their 7th series win. Gymnastics Australia are already putting athletes through psychological courses aimed at ensuring they can cope with the pressure of the Games, even though the Olympic team has not yet been finalised. The weather forecast today is all sunshine in Brisbane with a top of 24 degrees. That's all in news.
This is Jack.
JACradio.com.au.
Jack.
Radio.
Welcome back to Jack Radio, where it's currently 7 minutes past 9. To Brisbane's weather, it's currently 17 degrees and sunny in the southeast with an expected top of 24 degrees today. Some strong southeasterly winds about the city. Those winds are expected to continue over the next few days before easing on Friday. In the southeast, Ipswich will be 15 to 28 degrees, the Gold Coast 17 to 25 and the Sunshine Coast 18 to 27. In Brisbane, Wednesday should reach a top of 22 degrees, but a bit cooler on Thursday with a top of 19. Some cloud coming in this afternoon, but the fine weather should continue through to the weekend. Coming up, we're talking to an Olympian. Now, he's from Brisbane. It is a he. I won't give it away just yet. All I'll say is that he can carry an entire load of groceries in one go. So I'll leave you to ponder over that for a while. But first, we're going to jump right into domestic violence in the NRL. And there have been a few instances of NRL players being found guilty of domestic violence offences, most notably Robert Louis from the North Queensland Cowboys. And it sparked a bit of controversy in Brisbane and around Australia about what exactly the NRL should do about these players. So on Jack Radio, we've got the word from the experts and the NRL about just what the situation is in relation to dealing with domestic violence. Here it is. Robert Louis, the North Queensland halfback who pleaded guilty to assaulting his pregnant girlfriend, has been dealt a 1-year ban in an emphatic statement by the NRL. But with harsher penalties to players who test positive for illegal substances, the question now is whether the 1-year ban is enough, or has it set a subpar precedent on how the NRL will respond to cases of domestic violence.
No, should be kicked out altogether.
More than 12 months, isn't it? Don't hit women. No.
It's not fixing the problem. It's just not acceptable.
The Australian Rugby League Commission launched the investigation following scrutiny around a Brisbane-based petition that amassed over 20,000 signatures last month. The petition came after Louis' girlfriend Talia Barco described in court how the 22-year-old repeatedly kicked her while she covered her pregnant stomach.
You asked me a question, would I like someone who punched my daughter? No, I'd get around there and make sure that relationship ended. Take him out. No excuse. Just as bad as alcoholism or drug addiction.
CEO David Gallop said on Wednesday that the 1-year ban is the appropriate judgment for the club and family, and has called for others to follow Rugby League's lead in sending a strong anti-violence message to the community.
Today was about sending a clear message about what the game stands for. First thing I hope is that he and his partner and child get their life back on track and understand that they've committed to counselling and are in that process right now. But he must know that the game won't tolerate this sort of behaviour. We are at the forefront of campaigns in relation to domestic violence, and we take seriously our position in the community to send the right message in relation to that.
But Dr Deborah Walsh, a domestic violence specialist at the University of Queensland, is concerned the minimal penalty undermines the NRL's zero-tolerance policy and may send a contradictory message.
NRL have a great responsibility to the community to send very clear messages, which I don't think in this case that they're doing. It's giving a message to the community that violence against women in intimate relationships gets a minimal penalty and there's no long-term consequences. I worry that crimes against women are treated very differently in any arena, but if the NRL are sending a message that, it's not as bad, then I'm worried.
Sharks fullback Isaac Gordon also pleaded guilty to assaulting his pregnant girlfriend this year, but being a less severe offence than Louis, he'll miss just 9 rounds of the NRL competition. Dr Walsh said this sets a concerningly low precedent for domestic violence in the NRL compared to harsher penalties in other sports.
When you compare that to things like Nick Darcy, the butterfly swimmer, he assaulted Simon Cowley in a public place. It was a horrific violence. He was dropped from the team. He was charged and then he was dropped. There were absolute consequences for his violence, but what the NRL are saying in this instance, in my view, if it's to a partner, it's not as bad. And I don't think we should be sending that message to the community. I don't think we should be sending that message to our kids. And I have a young boy that plays footy, loves the NRL. We've had numerous conversations about the message that this is giving to him and a message that I don't want him to receive.
But Gallop believes the NRL's campaigns against domestic violence will be enough to enforce the right message, having been a founding member of the White Ribbon campaign and with ambassadors such as David Peachey in the Tackling Violence program. Peachey, a former representative fullback, said while he's not sure if 1 year is enough for Robert Louis, the program will fully support the NRL's lead on the issue.
They've made that decision with Robert, and it's something now that they've got to stand by and commit to. And the stance that they've taken hopefully is strong enough, and that's something that we'll follow.
Peachey said Rugby League has a unique opportunity to reach numerous communities about domestic violence, and what's important now is that the NRL stands strong behind their decision and puts their full support behind programs like Tackling Violence.
Where we feel as though we're privileged to be able to have that profile to go into those communities and talk about domestic violence, which has been not very much spoken about. Rugby League being the vehicle that we use at grassroots level and the NRL, who a lot of us look up to, obviously need to make that stance and pretty much step on the same bandwagon.
Louis was dealt a 2-year good behaviour bond and fined $2,000 by the courts last month and will undergo counselling for the remainder of 2012. The Cowboys admitted they expect another strong community reaction when Louis returns to the field next March, and after speaking to members of the Brisbane community, it's exactly what they'll get.
No. He's got a problem, but it's not the NRL's responsibility to fix the goat.
I don't know, it's hard. I don't think what you do off the field should impact what you do on the field.
But the second time, the third time, I feel sorry for his other half. She should have left him. You know, stupid.
You're listening to Jack Radio. That was a report on domestic violence in the NRL. Domestic and family violence occurs in all sections of our community and across all cultures. Being abused is not a normal part of domestic or family life. If you have been abused or feel threatened at home, please contact the Brisbane Domestic Violence Advocacy Service. The BDVAS offers a free and confidential service for anyone in the community affected by violence. They offer full support, information, counselling and even legal services. You can contact the BDVAS 24 hours, 7 days a week on 1800 811 811 because in Australia we say no to domestic violence. You're on Jack Radio. Got an Olympian up next. I'll give you another clue. He was our only male representative in his event in Beijing and he won gold in the 2010 Commonwealth Games. So that's up next, but first I'm going to play you some music coming out of a talented young Brisbane band called the Jungle Giants. Some great stuff coming from them. The track I'm going to play for you is from their debut EP, setting a much better tone for our domestic violence theme today. It's called Mr. Polite. Here it is. You're with Amy on Jack Radio. Welcome back. That was a great track there from the Jungle Giants, aptly titled Mr. Polite, continuing our stance today against domestic violence here in Australia. You can get that one for free on Triple J's Unearthed website, so get onto that one. It's always important to support our Brizzy bands. But it's also important to support our Brizzy athletes leading up to the London Olympics, just 60 days away now. It's getting so close. And I love the Olympics, and I know that if you're anything like me, there'll be a few empty seats in lecture theatres at the start of next semester. And for me, one of the best things about it is getting to watch some of those sports you never usually see. So today our special guest is Australia's leading weightlifter right here in Brisbane, Damon Kelly. He's been Australia's undefeated weightlifting champ since 2006. He started at the age of 15 at Brisbane St Lawrence's College. He played rugby alongside Set of Origin star Cooper Cronk, and he's now preparing to qualify for his second Olympic Games. And today, he spoke to me. Here's the interview on Jack Radio. Damon Kelly, hello. How's your day been?
Yeah, not too bad.
I'll get cracking here. I won't take up too much of your time. So you're a teenager, in Brisbane. Why'd you choose weightlifting?
I guess I was lucky enough that a club started at my school at St Lawrence's, and like I was growing up, I did all sports: rugby league, rugby union, cricket. I was a real athletic, enjoyed it all, so I thought I'd give it a go, and also I thought it'd help along with strength and conditioning as well for the other sports. And lucky enough to start up in school and went down and gave it a go and found out, I enjoyed it and just stuck at it.
Well, you've been the dominant weightlifter in Australia for, 6 years now or so? So, how do you keep motivated to keep training and what's your secret?
It's hard to keep motivated. It's getting harder the older I get, definitely. Just looking at the big picture keeps me motivated. Ever since the 2006 Commonwealth Games where I won silver. After that, I really wanted to get that gold medal, so I really wanted to keep training to make sure I got that, and then along the way, try and qualify for Olympics as well. Just trying to aim for those events. Definitely keeps the motivation up. Also just trying to keep progressing, keep getting PBs and increasing those weights to lift, get them up. And I find once I get back into the swing of full training, it's easier, but it's the time after you have a few weeks off, it's hard to get back into training then when everything hurts and it's hard and you're sore every morning. But I guess just overall enjoyment, I really enjoy it, so that's why I've kept at it and keep doing it.
On a bit of a lighter note, have you ever tried lifting other things other than weights just to see what you can lift?
Yeah, I always get called on when friends are moving house and stuff like that. The couches and fridges and any little dogger that comes out to the gym, they want me to lift people up and stuff like that. So I've tried that a few times. People are a bit lighter, but they're very hard to lift up. I'd rather lift the bar up any day.
I'm sure. But I'm sure you're very handy around the house as well.
Yeah, pretty good with the groceries as well. So I can do the groceries in one trip from the car.
That's very handy, very impressive.
Yeah.
For those of us who don't know a whole lot about weightlifting. What should we expect when we tune in to some weightlifting in London?
If you tune in to see some weightlifting, I think you'd expect to see, some of the strongest athletes in the world competing. Because weightlifting, everybody thinks all about strength, but it's definitely not. You've got to use the power. A lot of it is technique and flexibility. So if you tune in, we're definitely seeing some guys lifting, over double their body weight over their head and powerful movements. And definitely, I think, some really tight competition. So looking at the World Championships last year, pretty much every bodyweight class is going to come down to 1 or 2 kilos. It's that close. So it's going to be some fantastic battles to watch. And hopefully the TV does it justice and shows it. But there'll be some definitely great battles and just some amazing, feats.
Yeah, it definitely can be very exciting. So what kind of tactics are involved in determining what weight you're going to lift and all that kind of thing?
Tactics involved, probably depending on where you are. I guess first and foremost is trying to get your first lift in. Makes you relax a bit more. You really want to get the opening one in because in weightlifting you only get 3 attempts at the snatch and 3 attempts at the clean and jerk. So especially in the really big competitions like the Olympics and World Championships, competition's so close. So it's really important to get your weight selection right. So you really want to make sure you get that first one in, and you want to make sure your warm up's fine. So get that first one in, then you can sit back and keep an eye on what the other guys are doing, and that's when the weight selections really come down to the wire, So you've got to try and judge what the other guys are doing or what you think they're capable of. And sometimes you've got to try and pick a weight, either to force them out early or you do a weight to make them go up. So just those tight competitions, it can be very tactical with the weight selection.
You're out on the mat, you're facing the audience and you're halfway through it. And what's going through your head to get you that little bit of extra motivation to make the lift?
I try and not think about too much. So for me, when I walk out, I just try and walk out and really attack the bar. We want to walk out and be confident and think, yes, I've got this. And especially in the clean and jerk, I always think I just don't want to drop it, especially if it's for a medal or trying to get a few places higher. You definitely think about the reward of getting that lift and the consequences of missing it. So you really just want to make sure you get every lift.
So you've got some qualifying events coming up over the next few weeks. What do they involve?
Basically, next week we got Samoa. So we've got the Oceania Championship from the 4th to the 9th in Samoa. That for us is our continental qualification for the Olympics. The way the actual selection works is we have 4 comps, which all our totals count. So they'll take our best result from those 4 competitions, but we also have to qualify our 1 spot to be able to send someone over to London. So it's pretty complicated, but we'll get there in the end.
It's getting close now, so hopefully you pull some numbers there, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you adding to Australia's medal tally over in London very soon.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
That was Damon Kelly here on Jack Radio, our Olympic weightlifter. If you want to tune into some weightlifting this July, it'll be on Channel 8 of Fox Sports' extensive Olympics coverage. And if you want to keep up with Damon's progress, you can follow him on Twitter at Damon Kelly. He likes to have a bit of a comment about most Australian sports, so it's a worthy follow, that one. But before we get to the Olympics, we have to get through semester 1 exams first, which are just a few weeks away now. So I wanted to help you out today and give you something to motivate you to start studying. One of the most important things is getting that sugar hit, because there really is no study without lollies. We've done the hard work for you here at Jack Radio, and we've gone out a bit of a pilgrimage around the St. Lucia campus to get the final verdict on what is the best lolly at UQ's beloved lolly shop. What is your favourite lolly here in the lolly shop?
Chocolate cherry bar.
Suckers.
Watermelon lollies.
Why?
It's chewy and sour.
Uh-oh. I don't know. White chocolate bar?
I don't know. I don't have one. I prefer all.
Let's say clouds. Do they have the red clouds? I don't know. I've never
They do.
been to the lolly shop. But the clouds, definitely the clouds.
What's your favourite lolly in the lolly shop, if we had to force you to pick one?
That would have to be the pretzel M&M, because it's a mixture of the salty but also the sweet with the chocolate. It's a perfect combination.
And do you love a good all-day sucker?
No, I don't.
Although what?
No.
Why not? Is it cloud flavoured?
Not really, but yeah, I think it's good.
You gotta love a lollipop, you gotta love everything.
What is the most popular lolly that you think people buy?
Probably most of the Cadbury bars, like Dairy Milk bars and Twix and all that sort of stuff. That's probably the most popular stuff we have. Actually, I've never bought lolly.
So there you have it. We can't go past our traditional chocolate hit, and today you have Jack Radio's permission to eat some chocolate before class. Well, that's all we have for you today on Jack Radio. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to leave you with something to get you motivated for that sugar hit. Take you back a decade to the simpler times, listening to your Sony Discman or Walkman or whatever you had going on back then. All the way from the year 1999, here is Mandy Moore with the classic track, Candy. Have a great day.